Hello and welcome to today's webinar. The path to hybrid cloud is as easy as packing for your vacation. This special webinar event is brought to you in partnership with Nutanix and produced by Actual Tech Media. Thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. We've got a great event lined up for you today. I know IT professionals such as yourselves are very busy, so we always appreciate your time. I think this is a great learning opportunity for all of us. There aren't many, if any, conferences going on these days in person, so virtual events like this are more valuable than ever before. So again, thank you so much for taking your time to join us. We want this to be an educational event, so we encourage you to use the questions box. It's there in your audience console on the left-hand side. I can draw your attention to it there. Of course, we encourage your questions throughout the presentation, but we will be doing a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So we'll be queuing up the best questions for that Q&A session. So keep those questions coming in throughout today's presentation. My name is David Davis of Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for today's webinar. So besides questions, we also have a number of handouts there. Those are also on the left-hand side. First off, at the top, we have the Nutanix test drive, which our presenter will be talking about in just a little bit, but you can go ahead and click on that. It will actually open a new tab or a new window in your web browser. Then we have the definitive guide to private cloud. This is a PDF that you can download. It's a great resource, a great ebook, very nicely designed, I have to say. So make sure that you download that and save it for after today's webinar. And then finally, we have a Tango $300 gift card that we will be announcing the winner of at the end of today's presentation. If you're not familiar with Tango gift cards are they can be redeemed for e-gift cards at your choice of hundreds of retailers, including places like Walmart, Best Buy, restaurants, and much more. So it's kind of like the universal gift card, if you will. So if you're watching this event on demand, I'm sorry, the drawing for the gift card has already occurred. The prize terms and conditions can be found there in the handouts tab. And now I'm excited to introduce our expert presenter. That is Mr. Alan Waters, Senior Solutions Marketing Manager at Nutanix. Alan, thank you so much for being on the event today.
Thanks, David, and welcome everyone to the webinar. As David mentioned, my name's Alan Waters, and I'm a Solutions Marketing Manager at Nutanix with a focus on private and hybrid cloud solutions. I was looking at the chat box over on the left there that David highlighted, and I was looking at the title, and I see some pretty nice locations like Richard in Chicago and Anthony in California. So hello to everyone out there. But during these times, traveling for vacations are tough. I know mine was canceled for this summer. But if you're lucky enough to be in some of those locations that I just mentioned, lucky enough to be going on vacation, and if you pack light, it's going to be easy. And with that thought in mind, and making things easy, Nutanix can make your path to the hybrid and multi-cloud easy as well. And that's what we're going to be discussing today. So for the last few months, I've been sharing this message, and I think it means more today than ever before, given the pandemic and COVID-19 and so forth. But really what it means is IT teams find themselves with the added stress to increase agility. For example, provisioning new workloads on demand, scaling capacity quickly, having to bring new users on board without compromising security. I mean, some folks woke up and on Monday they had to have 500 users working from home. So there's a lot of pressure there. And sometimes some of these things require a more modern IT strategy, one that spans public and private environments, and a strategy that allows IT managers to place workloads on the right cloud for the best economics and performance, service level agreements, and controls. So a piece of that is a correctly built hybrid cloud platform is really the answer. It provides integration between the private and public cloud infrastructures, and of course, enabling the interoperability between the two environments, including the migration and applications and data, all with that unified management. So reasons for public cloud. Public cloud's growing like crazy. Everybody loves it. And there's good reasons for it, because really public cloud takes the pains of infrastructure management away, and it really enables IT organizations to deliver value to their businesses really in a timely manner. The ability to deploy VMs in minutes, all the one-click simplicity that you can get, flexible consumption. You get what you pay for, um, and of course innovation. And what I mean by that is, you wake up the next morning and suddenly you have new features available to you. So there's a lot of great things about moving to the public cloud. But there's also great reasons for private cloud. There's great reasons for on-prem, right? There's advantages too. For example, if you consider data gravity, applications have to go where the data is being generated, and really having to move that data from where it's being generated, whether it's from applications or machines or employees, customers, and so forth, it can be expensive and it can be time consuming. Another is it's hard to move those legacy applications that you might have had for years and years to the public cloud, and trying to do so, whether it's having to redo them entirely, can be quite expensive, costs a lot of money. Next is regulatory concerns. GDPR, it might severely limit the ability to even use public clouds and even place data up there. You might not even know where that data center is. And then there's the loss of control that IT might feel when they try to deploy custom applications and trying to protect those applications and the data associated with it. So a lot of good reasons for public cloud, a lot of good reasons for a private cloud, and so forth. So what's the answer? Well, we believe hybrid multi-cloud is really the ultimate goal, since it can give you the best of both worlds. Even if you don't plan to use public cloud today, what if your dev team comes to you in the next week or two with a new cloud native type of application for your customers or sales teams and so forth? What are you going to do? What happens then? Do you create another silo to support all that? Um, and, but the good news is, if you pick the correct platform and one that's built the right way, getting to public and hybrid multi-cloud can be easy. So the good news is, you're not alone if you think hybrid cloud is the ultimate answer. A recent survey that was done is the Enterprise Cloud Index. Actually, IT professionals, 85% of them believe hybrid cloud is the ideal operating model um, for them. So that's good news. Um, Not leaning one way or the other, but 85% do agree that the hybrid cloud and multi-cloud operating model would be the best model for them. So what do you do? How do you avoid all the complexity and do it right the first time? As I mentioned, the key is picking that right platform, one that eliminates all the complexity. I know if you're familiar with some of the complicated suites that are out there that might require months of professional services, there's got to be a better way. Um, and some of the big considerations are, is it easy to use? Can we get it up and running quickly? Is it simple to get components added when we need them? And really, in that situation, it needs to be 100% software defined and have the ability to decouple the software from the hardware. Um, we believe it should be subscription based, software licenses being portable across public and private clouds. And as you heard, the ability to run all your applications, services with the security policies that you've applied to those workloads and follow them as they move, independent of the cloud they run on. So how do you do it? How do you get there? As I mentioned, you need to pick the right platform. One, when you look at this slide, that can support all of your applications and workloads as you look across the top here. End user computing, VDI, all your databases, Oracle, SQL, all the way over to general compute, dev, and test. And the key piece here is not creating more silos. The Nutanix platform can really get you there. And here are the different components when you look. I call it the layer cake, and we'll be referring to this slide as we go through the webinar. And I'll be referring back to it. But there are different components to think about as you make up your private cloud, right? And you don't have to throw all of these components at it, at the beginning. Look at the challenges that might be popping up that affect you most, and tackle those challenges one at a time. And as I mentioned earlier, as you tackle those challenges and you add components, adding those components has to be easy and it has to be simple, right? With a unified management. And that's what Nutanix offers. So all from the storage consolidation that we'll talk about, automation, business continuity, and you wrap all of that with network and cloud security. So we believe, of course, here at Nutanix, we believe as you make that transformation um, to the cloud, we believe that the platform should start with Hyperconverged, HCI. And and in most cases, it's organizations that are trying to move from a legacy kind of three-tier architecture and converging all the IT resources onto a single scale-out solution, a hyper-converged solution that can really run any application that I mentioned a second ago, right? Start small and scale out over time. The platform needs to be able to support that. It's got to be intelligent. It's got to support one-click operations with unified management. And it has to be resilient. It's got to be always on. It's got to be able to be a platform that replicates data in small slices and be able to recover quickly from failure with no disruption. And this is kind of my single slide on HCI. Of course, you can talk for an hour or two on HCI itself. But when you're looking for a platform, these are kind of the core components that you need to keep in mind as you look at a hyperconversion. Of course, Nutanix has been one of the leaders in HCI for 10 years, and we were one of the front runners there and one of the market leaders today. So what's next? As you go up the stack, next is storage consolidation. So when you take a look around your data center, look at all the types of storage that you might have. You might have block, you might have object, you might have file, for example. So some vendors out there will sell you a different array for all kinds of different storage types, right? You'll have more silos around your data center. But we believe you should have a platform that can consolidate all that data. So think about all the data that's being generated by your customers, employees, for example, systems. It's a lot, and sometimes it's overwhelming. But traditional file and object storage, they're complex, and sometimes they require special skills, and typically do not scale well with a cloud platform. So to keep up with data growth and securely provide that data back to your customers, you really want to try to consolidate all that data upon a single platform. And that's what Nutanix can do for you. We enable customers to consolidate a wide variety of data, including databases, files, objects upon the same platform, and still scale non-disruptively as that data grows. And the result is being able to serve data across multiple protocols for any use case or workload. So since data is your most valuable asset, within most companies, having a cloud environment, it's got to support it along with uh, all the built-in consolidation capabilities that go along with the governance and compliance, along with those different types of storage needs. And that's exactly what Nutanix can help you do, consolidate all of that storage. Next is automation, and there's a couple of different pieces to automation, including intelligent operations, self-service, and so forth. But it's really enabling the ability to get more done even faster while increasing levels of quality. So if you think about the process maybe that you have for rolling out a virtual machine, maybe there's a spreadsheet that's associated with it and so forth. Get rid of those spreadsheets and simplify and automate those types of tasks. So when you have built-in machine learning and you have automation and you have all of it presented via a single web user interface, you can really reduce complex and repetitive tasks that I was just talking about across the entire IT lifecycle, and really condense those down to just a few clicks. Um, deploy resources non-disruptively as you scale out and as your cloud scales out, and do it during business hours. You don't have to come in on the weekends. You can get rid of that. Manage and monitor servers, storage, VMs, all from one place as opposed to multiple specialized tools. Um, have your system, your platform detect and automatically resolve anomalies in real time, and really get rid of the needless firefighting. Um, having the ability to perform upgrades, from the hardware to the hypervisor with one click, really frees up all the planning, the weeks of careful planning that might happen, and running from upgrades and having those happen during off hours. So again, it's all about freeing up maintenance time, ensuring 24/7 performance, and really enabling you to get ahead of the needs of the business by applying automation and simplifying. Another piece of this, to become that true cloud operator for your business, you need to be able to monitor and meter. And I mentioned this a second ago. Um, you for, a couple of seconds in the previous slide, but really digging into it is being able to monitor and meter and charge back all the actual costs, including usage and staff, and really charge it back to the business units and departments if you need to, right? And Nutanix is the only private cloud solution that delivers this capability as a service. There's no hardware required for it, and really, a fundamental component of any cloud experience is being able to accurately know what your resources are costing you and being able to allocate those to the appropriate business initiatives. So, this is where Nutanix comes in, the private cloud metering and cost control. It's an out of the box configurable type of total cost, a TCO based costing model that really shows what your private cloud spend is, and being able to distribute that to and show that back, charge that back to the different business units. It's key to being a cloud operator. So next, as we work our way up the layers, is business continuity. As you start to deliver more workloads, services, and data from your cloud, you have to ensure that you have a strong practice in business continuity, a strong practice in disaster recovery that prevents losses at all costs. And that's what this next category is all about. So I like to look at this category in three different buckets. The next slide as well. But this one, talks about the Nutanix's self-healing capabilities. Being designed to protect individual VMs, being designed to protect the application data across all the services that I talked about before, volumes, files, and objects. Next is native disaster recovery, enabling you to seamlessly keep applications online in the event of both planned and unplanned disasters. And whether it's replicating on-prem or to the cloud, the Nutanix disaster recovery features deliver the RPOs and the RTOs that you need across your entire environment. And finally, we have an integration with an ecosystem of third-party backup vendors, for example, Veeam, to enable application consistent backups and provide application awareness for backups and so forth. So a complete ecosystem if you do happen to have a third-party type of backup. So really, in summary, you can ensure high levels of availability and resiliency with a tailored, data protection and disaster recovery approach to really meet your SLAs, and really at a much lower cost. And finally, at the top, and all the different pieces that we've been talking about, and as you start to embrace really that private cloud, proper security has to be applied across the board. And as I mentioned, I like to talk about this in three different buckets as well. The first being the platform side of things, kind of the AOS, the hyperconverged side of things, where the Nutanix software has built-in capabilities that say encrypt data at rest. There's also, the ability to have microsegmentation to secure your applications as we work across the top there, application security, so that the applications are secure and the network that touches the data is also secure. There's also, you've got to apply strong security controls and automated compliance checks and self-healing, which means that your cloud is going to be protected from start to finish. There's also a wide range of standards, including, say, FIPS 140-2 and so forth, and third-party tools that you can apply to further improve security if you do use those tools as well. So all these capabilities are delivered by Nutanix, private cloud solution and hybrid multi-cloud solution, and it's really differentiated from others out in the market. Being able to deliver applications, services, and data at scale with intelligent automation, self-service capabilities that really bring cloud simplicity and all the the public cloud simplicity that I was talking about earlier, um, and agility to the enterprise data center today. And that's really what's unique about the Nutanix approach, um, along with offering choice of hardware, choice of hypervisors, and the license portability, all while reducing total cost of ownership and preventing that expensive vendor lock-in that some other vendors um, make you do. So what happens? You made the move, that the bottom piece that we talked about, making the move to HCI. You started, say, implementing some of your private cloud, delivering some IT as a service. But what happens in 3 months when your developers or, say, your customer service team or sales folks come to you and say, hey, we have a new application we'd like to roll out. And you think about it and you think, well, is public cloud a better fit for this application? What are your choices at that point? If you don't pick the right platform, you might have to deal with another silo. You might have to manage this silo from a whole new cloud environment, and that's more complications. But that's where Nutanix also continues to make it easy, just like packing for your vacation. Um, you're going to have a single operating system, the same capabilities I just talked about with that layered cake. Those same capabilities can span private, hosted, and public clouds. And really, the result is a platform that allows operators and IT to manage your traditional applications that live on-prem, along with the modern applications that might be living in the cloud, all using this single same platform. And you get the ability to seamlessly extend between clouds. You can move VMs and applications without translation and without learning new practices or retooling. And that's really key. Um, and finally, you get true cloud unification. You get license portability, so it doesn't matter where the workload lives, the licenses will follow it. And it really empowers IT. And I said, I like the term cloud operators to choose the best cloud for each application. And really, it's about that seamless management between. You're not going to have a management with Nutanix. You're not going to have separate management between private cloud and public cloud. It's that same seamless management for both clouds. And that's what's key. And that's what makes it easy. So this is exactly how Nutanix delivers a hybrid cloud along with the private cloud. It's a complete solution that brings private, public, and hybrid multi-cloud together as one. It's an easy, intelligent, resilient platform with that single management and data control plane. It's hybrid cloud, easily delivered, private, public, and hybrid. It's really all together as one. So all the capabilities that we just talked about, the best way to see it for yourself is to try it with our Nutanix test drive. Go to the link nutanix.com/test drive, and you can actually try it for yourself. It's the best way. I mean, you can take a look at the data sheet that I put up there, but the best way is to try it for yourself. You can try things out like all the automation we've been talking about, some of the business continuity. You can try out for yourself. Intelligent operations is there. Um, and it also consists of some guided tours where you can see um, and be able to do tasks on a cluster for yourself and see what it's all about. If you can do one thing, I would highly recommend the Nutanix test drive so you can try the software out for yourself. So this concludes my presentation and the webinar. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to take a look at some of the questions in there and see if I can answer. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, I'll be around for the next few minutes trying to answer some questions here. David, back to you.
Great presentation, Alan. Yes, sir, we do have some questions for you coming in. If you have a question about Nutanix and hyperconvergence and private cloud, now is the time for everyone to get your questions in. So while we do those questions, I'm just going to bring up this poll. The poll on the screen I want to call everyone's attention to is what additional information would you like about the Nutanix solution? And we'll just leave that up while we do our Q&A. So Alan, let's see, first question I see that came in, they're asking, and maybe you can clear up confusion on this because I'm sure this is a common question, is having an HCI environment the same as a private cloud, or how are the two different?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when I go into a briefing, a briefing, and you start talking, customers often think that yeah, I have a complete private cloud. I already set that up. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. But really, when I think of a private cloud, I think about going up to AWS and getting those same capabilities, if not more, and offering those same capabilities on-prem, right, within your private cloud. So yeah, you might have made the move to HCI, but have you added more automation on top of it? Have you consolidated your storage? Have you applied security or microsegmentation to it? So yeah, HCI I think provides automation like lifecycle management and so forth when you get started, but really think of some of the other challenges and start simplifying more and adding more capabilities and really build out that platform that you might already have if it's already a hyperconverged. But think about providing more automation and those different capabilities that you might get up on a public cloud, and build it out even more. And then that's one of the great things that Nutanix does. We can, as you look at all the challenges that might be in front of you, we can help you tackle them very easily, without months and months of professional services. That's what Nutanix is known for. That's why our customers love us, because we make things simple.
Absolutely. And I know companies out there, they just need so much more simplicity to really focus on what's important for the business. We in IT have so much just overhead from maintenance and tasks that just take too long. And so I love the simplicity that the Nutanix solution can offer companies out there. Next question is, they're saying the industry is saying that public cloud is the way of the future. Private seems the opposite of that. What's your take, Alan?
Yeah, and hopefully I did cover that early on in the presentation where, yeah, lots and lots of talk about moving to public. And when you start saying about, even the last question, start building out your private cloud, and then when needed, make the jump, or get the capabilities of moving to public. But there can, there can, it can be, there can be differences. But the important piece is having a platform that combines the two. Some organizations say, hey, due to compliance or due to regulatory reasons, I can't use the cloud at all. Maybe it's healthcare, maybe it's a dark site or something like that, which is fine. You can still have all the capabilities and that a public cloud offers on-prem, and that's perfect. Um, but some organizations, they want to start with on-prem, and then the example I used earlier was, hey, what if your sales team comes to you and you do need to move an application to the public cloud? Have that ability, and have the public cloud abilities and run those VMs, from the same management platform that you already have on-prem. So that's really the key that Nutanix offers. Combining the private and the public as one.
That's
I
great. Yeah,
think
I mean,
I think that was an extended answer to
no,
to the
that's a
question.
that's a that's a great answer. I mean, I think we can all agree that having cloud-like functionality is the future. where the applications run, you can make the best decision for your business, of course. But
Yep.
having that cloud-like functionality on premises, so you don't have to pay someone else to run it, per minute, seems like the best of both worlds, in my opinion, with the Nutanix solution. So let's see, a number of questions coming in here for you, Alan. I'll just keep those flowing into the
Yeah,
queue if you
I'm
want
actually yeah, I'm looking over in the question.
to. Okay.
I see one from Sean. Sean's asking about database as a service. Sean, I'm going to have to get back to you, or if you want to send me an email at alan.waters@nutanix. I'm not sure about your MS SQL question. I'll have to check on that. Prasad has a great question. His question is about the challenges he faces with his architects about choosing a particular public cloud platform, architecting to that platform, and then it looks like getting stuck with that platform because you've architected it. So the way, so the way we remove that headache there, Prasad, is um, with clusters. We're actually releasing clusters in the next week or two. And the first public cloud we're going to offer is AWS. So if you have an AWS account and you have the Nutanix platform, um, you have an AWS bare metal server, which runs the Nutanix platform and the capabilities that we've built into it and the integrated networking, so you don't have to mess around with the headaches. But if you have an application that's running on-prem, there's no retooling or re-architecting that you have to do to move that up to AWS, and then taking advantage of all the services that AWS offers as well. So there's kind of a difference between running in AWS and running on AWS. Um, but that's the way that the Nutanix platform is doing it. We're running, on AWS with the bare metal servers, and the capabilities that we offer allow that seamless movement of applications and VMs. So I think we could help you, um, with your architects and picking that public cloud platform, and then other public clouds. I think Azure will come up next, followed by Google or vice versa. So other public clouds are in the works as we speak.
Nice, exciting new features there on the horizon. I'd love to hear that. Um, there's another question here about they say they're thinking of moving to HCI. The vendors say they can all do hybrid. Um, I know Nutanix can do hybrid, but what really makes Nutanix different?
Um, say that one more time. Sorry, I was reading a question from Ron.
Yeah, no problem. They said we're thinking of moving to HCI. The big vendors all say they can do hybrid.
Yeah.
Uh, what really makes Nutanix unique?
Yeah, and it does depend on the vendor, and some of it goes back to some of the features that I just talked about, where if you are looking at the hybrid and making the move to public, some vendors out there, when you make that hybrid and make the move to public cloud, there could be a lot of professional services in order to make that happen, and it's not as easy. So we get rid of all of that because of what I just talked about with the AWS environment, the single management plane that you use for one. I mean, when you look at a cluster and you look at the management interface for Nutanix, one's going to say, your server's on-prem, and then you look at another side and it's going to say on AWS, and it's the same management interface. It's really that easy. If you go to Nutanix.com, I believe there's a hybrid cloud or clusters area where you can see the demos of it actually happening, and seeing workloads moving. So we do make it easy. Um, and just, if you are investigating a hyperconverged platform, just make sure that the features are there, and make sure the management and the movement of workloads and a lot of the features that I talked about at the end of my presentation are there, and it's not overly complicated, and lots of different management interfaces for lots of different tools that they bolt on, as opposed to the way Nutanix does it, where it is a unified management interface and we make things easy.
Nice. I like that. We need more easy in IT. um, Excellent. Let's see. I'm not sure if we have time for any of these other questions.
Yeah,
Alan,
I'm looking at Chris's. Chris said his organization just invested in new SSD storage and blade chassis. So, Chris, I'm thinking that is it when I'm thinking it's a raise that you're talking about, where you just or possibly this is a three-tier environment um, with a SAN. I'm guessing that's correct. So, organizations that are in that type of environment, do make the leap to and kind of move over to HCI to kind of get rid of some of those silos that you might be having over there. The question is, you might be thinking about, hyperconverged sounds great, but how do I get there, right? And really a few different ways to get there that organizations go through, because they'll listen to me and say, hey, Alan, I like what you're saying, but I've had this environment for years and years, and I don't think getting there is going to be that easy. So you've got to have a plan to get to hyperconverged and kind of move over to, move away from that SAN. And really some of the easy ways are, if you have new applications that you're rolling out, set an HCI environment up and move those new applications to it. Test dev is always an easier way. Set that up on HCI, and then start building out the environment from there. Remote office, branch office, VDI are still great use cases for hyperconverged. So there are some ways that we can help you, get started with HCI. Um, and if you need some additional information, again, send me an email at alan.waters at nutanix.com, and I can get you some more information on that. But I believe we could help you, you know, with the question that you just asked about, some of the chassis and storage and so forth that you just asked.
nice. Nice. Okay. Well, I know we're running out of time. We wanted to keep this relatively short. Lots of great questions coming in. Last question I wanted to ask you is about the test drive. So, if we were to use the test drive link, again, it's in the handouts tab there. Click on that, and there's a super simple form right here that you fill out and click Get Started. Alan, can you kind of walk us through what happens after that?
Yeah, so I believe there's a simple form when you go to the link to fill out, and then you have access to the software. And some of the capabilities that I mentioned a little while ago is, you know try it out for yourself. Try out some of the automation. Try out some of the intelligent ops that we have in there. Try out HCI AOS. It's the really the core piece of moving to hyperconverge. You can try that out, and take a look at the guided tours that are in there, and do some of the tasks on a real cluster, to see how it works and see how easy it really is. Um, it's really the overview on what the test drive can do. Try it for yourself. Uh,
Nice. I like that. I do need to try it for myself as well. It does sound uh, really cool to gain access remotely to this. They call it a one-click infrastructure that transforms IT operations. So it looks really easy to do, and I encourage everyone to check out that link there in the handouts tab. Chris said, "Thank you, Alan. Perfect. I will reach out to you." So great feedback there, and great feedback from the rest of the audience as well. Alan, really great presentation. Thank you for joining us again today.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, David.
And thank you to Nutanix for supporting today's event. Don't forget about that definitive guide to private cloud download that's available in the handouts tab as well. And of course, nutanix.com/test drive. Before we go, I want to announce the winner of the Tango $300 gift card. That's going out to Stephen Prezibaya. Forgive me if I mispronounced it. Stephen Prezibaya from North Carolina. Congratulations. We'll reach out to you to deliver that gift card. Best of luck to everyone next time. Hope you learned a lot. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.